Hello, and welcome to episode 38.5 of Ranking of Saturn. Today is a very special episode. We're going to be taking an extended look at one of my personal favourite games from this generation of hardware, and what is probably one of the most influential and highly respected classic 3D action games of all time. And the game I am talking about is, of course, the original Tomb Raider by Core Design. We've looked at some Core Design games in this series already. Such classics as, where are they? Firestorm, Thunderhawk 2, and Virtual Golf. But Tomb Raider is going to be the game that basically decides this development team's future for the rest of its existence, really. Tomb Raider would end up being both a blessing and a curse for Core Design. It was the game that made them a world-renowned studio. It is also the game that trapped them in a never-ending cycle of sequel after sequel after sequel. Rarely ever able to actually make anything else that was never a Tomb Raider game ever again. But that's more. We'll talk more about that in the video. In this video, I'm really mixing my words today. Ugh. So let me get rid of this list, bring up the capture, and start the game. Image just kind of shunted over to the right there. That's weird. Whoa. What's happening? Why is it getting some weird problems with video playback? Hopefully that doesn't mean the drive is dying on my Saturn. That would be very sad if that was to happen. The console is nearly 30 years old, so...
What's a man gotta do to get that kind of attention from you?
It's hard to say exactly, but you seem to be doing fine.
Well, great. Though truth is, it ain't me that wants you.
Oh?
No, Miss Jacqueline Natla does, from Natla Technologies. You know, creator of all things bright and beautiful.
I love how low poly his hand is.
Feast your eyes on this, Lara. How does that make your wallet rumble?
I'm sorry. I only play for sport.
Then you'll like a big park. Peru, vast mountain ranges to cover, sheer walls of ice, rocky crags, savage winds, and there's this little trinket, an age-old artifact of mystical powers buried in the unfound tomb of Qualopec. That's my interest. You could leave tomorrow. Are you busy tomorrow?
So, I would say right now, the soundtrack for this game is not original, it was licensed. And the original The original composer for this soundtrack is very active at flagging all the videos that make use of this music, so if that gets a problem, if that becomes a problem, I'll probably have to re-record this video without the music, but if you're hearing it right now, that means I didn't have to do that, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm not sure what the problems, I'm not sure why there was a problem playing back that video. The weird stuttering at the start, and it sounded like there was some like audio glitching as well, which is unusual. I don't think I've ever noticed that before. I don't know if that's normal or there's just, for some reason, the Saturn is deciding it's gonna struggle now of all days. Like I said earlier, I hope that doesn't mean that my console is dying. It's been doing a lot of work lately, so for a 30-year-old piece of kit, I imagine it's feeling its age. So yeah, Tomb Raider 1, one of the most influential 3D action games ever made. Also, maybe one of the games from this era of hardware that has aged the worst. There are very few games from the Saturn or the PlayStation that are as difficult to go back to as Tomb Raider 1, as the classic Tomb Raider games are, because they were full 3D platformers and action games developed before analog sticks became the norm. This what came out in '96 originally, so let's see. The N64, I think. When was the actual release? Was this November? I think this might be November. Hang on, let me double check the release date of this. So I've got two different release dates. Sega Retro lists the UK release date as October '96, while Wikipedia says the release date is... Okay, October '96. Okay, so it is October. Yeah, it came out in October '96. I want to say the N64 has like only just come out in Japan. The DualShock is not a thing yet. I think the DualShock becomes available for the PlayStation like early to mid '97. The Saturn 3D pad is available, but barely any games use it. We are playing in a rough release order for this series, and so far we've only had 3 games that make use of the 3D pad. Arguably just 2. That would be Panzer Dragoon 2 and Nights into Dreams, which frankly is embarrassing, I think. You think Sega would have had some kind of mandate for developers to try and include 3D pad support wherever possible, but no. So yeah, analog controls are not the norm. Like, they are a thing, analog controllers are around, but the overwhelming majority of games are not making use of them. And so you have this situation where you have this giant, like, full 3D, action platformer that you have to control exclusively with a D-pad, and that creates control issues, where you have to somehow get all these... Or you have to get all this movement and, like, dexterity out of a character to effectively navigate this 3D environment in an effective way, but you're stuck with a very basic controller, and that has created a game that is very difficult to go back to if you are used to how good modern control schemes are. I've actually plugged in the 3D pad now, because for some reason my brain is telling me this game does have limited 3D pad support, but that could just be fake memories, but I'm going to find out. For some reason there's some part of my memory that says the 3D pad does something, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Welcome to my home. I'll take you on a guided tour.
Okay, so right now I'm using the D-pad.
Use the D-pad to go into the music room.
Okay. Okay, so... Okay. So, controls are up on D-pad, run forward, back on D-pad to hop backwards, left to turn left, right to turn right. Hang on. Okay. The right shoulder button to do a 180 roll. There are times in this game where you need to turn around very quickly, and that is the most effective way of doing it. X to sidestep left, Z to sidestep right. Y button to enter the look around mode that so many full 3D games from this era had. Like a ton of like 3D platformers and 3D action games had like this like look around camera view where the camera will kind of get a little bit close in behind a character's head, and you have to physically turn the character's head to look around. Like Mario 64 has that. Spyro has that. There's a few other games that I'm can't remember that have that. Okay, A button to jump. Okay, and other buttons do other things, but we will figure that out. Oh, there's some real bad texture warping in this version of the game. Don't know if you saw that. That table, whoa, look at that table leg. Look at it go. Look at it just become completely detached from the rest of the table as I turn the camera. That is, that's some serious texture warp right there. A lot of people, when people think about or talk about the original Tomb Raider games, they always talk about them in the context that, oh, these were, you know, the PlayStation's killer IP. Like, these were capital P PlayStation games. You know what I mean? And
okay, let's do some tumbling. Press the jump button.
Hang on, I'll wait for her to. Okay. But I mean, I would say for the case of Tomb Raider 2 and 3, yes. Tomb Raider 1, a lot of people don't realise, but like the Sega Saturn was the lead platform for Tomb Raider 1. This game looks the way it does from like a geometry standpoint, because it was being developed primarily for the Saturn hardware and then ported to the PlayStation and PC. That's right, the PlayStation version of Tomb Raider is a port. This is the original. And the way the environments in this game are put together reflect that, because if you actually kind of like examine the environments in a Tomb Raider game, everything is made out of quads. Everything is made out of four-sided shapes. And that's to better take advantage of the way the Sega Saturn renders 3D objects. So you know how, like, if you think of a polygon, the building blocks of 3D games, polygons, they're triangles. They're three-sided shapes. The Sega Saturn doesn't do that. The Sega Saturn renders its 3D objects and environments out of four-sided polygons or quadrilaterals. And so if you actually look around the environments of Tomb Raider, 1 especially, the environments are basically made... What is going on with my controller? My controller's acting strange. Are made entirely out of four-sided shapes. Like, everything is either a square, you know, or a rectangle, or a trapezoid, or a parallelogram, or a rhombus, or a diamond. They're all four-sided shapes. And that's because the level designers did that intentionally to make it easier to build the environments out of quads. That would end up being kind of a ball and chain around the Tomb Raider games going forward, because Tomb Raider 1 is the only game in this franchise that came out for the Saturn. And of course, this game did so well that Eidos basically demanded a sequel every year from Core. And that's not enough time to come up with a new 3D engine to better take advantage of the PlayStation, where these systems would sell the most copies and make the most money. So you ended up with a situation where the sequels for Tomb Raiders, for at least the classic Tomb Raider games, 2, 3, Last Revelation, and Chronicles, are saddled with a 3D graphics engine that was originally designed to take advantage of of an architecture that was no longer relevant. And so that's why even like the PlayStation exclusive games kind of look very low poly and chunky, because they're forced to take advantage of an engine that was designed for this hardware platform. And Core Design just was not given the time or the budget to completely like make a new engine from scratch that better takes advantage of that hardware. And like they made small improvements. Each game makes like small improvements to the engine, So I think by the time you get to like Tomb Raider 4, Last Revelation, they've made enough small improvements to the engine, from sequel to sequel, that it looks, I think 4 looks significantly better than the first 3 games over. I mean, look, 2 looks a little bit better than 1, 3 looks a little bit better than 2, 4 looks a little bit better than 3. So by the time you get to 4, you have a significantly better looking game that I think takes better advantage of the PlayStation's hardware than 1 did. 1's environments... sorry, my voice cracked just then. That was weird. The environments in Tomb Raider 1 are very simple and blocky looking compared to the environments in those later sequels. I thought that was an interesting piece of information that not everyone knows. Something else I will mention is that this is the PAL version of Saturn Tomb Raider, and the PAL release of the Sega Saturn version of Tomb Raider is maybe the most buggy version of Tomb Raider ever released. Sega published Tomb Raider in Europe, and Sega was desperate to get this version of the game out ahead of the PlayStation release, and so desperate, in fact, that they were willing to let Core release an unfinished version of the game. I'm going to say it right now, as much as I like this game, and I have a soft spot for the Sega Saturn, the European Sega Saturn version of Tomb Raider is a buggy, unfinished mess. The other Sega Saturn releases of Tomb Raider 1 in like for example, shall I say, I don't know, here I'm holding a Japanese copy of Tomb Raider for the Saturn, and many of the bugs, visual bugs and errors you will see in this game and that I'm going to show today are not present in the American and Japanese releases, because Core had more time to fix the game before it came out in America and Japan. So a lot of the weird visual stuff, like you'll see like double textures, like the harp strings on this harp are looking really fucked up, and the lid on this piano is like incorrect. There's a weird bug where some textures are doubled and reversed. They don't look correct, that are fixed in the Japanese and North American release. Also, I'm going to test this 3D pad thing I've got. No, I've got the analog mode switched on. The 3D pad does nothing. Is it just a look mode thing? No, the 3D pad does nothing.
Now press it again and quickly press one of the directions, and I'll jump that way.
Okay. So yeah, 3D pad does nothing. My memories were false. Hang on, I pulled the controller out, so now it's temporarily paused the game. Plug a regular controller in and play this game properly. Okay, so yeah, the PAL release of Saturn Tomb Raider is an unfinished buggy mess in a way that no other version of the game is.
The main hall. Sorry about the crates. I'm having some things put into storage and the delivery people haven't been yet.
So there are visual bugs, there are audio bugs, there's scripting errors, textures. Some textures in the game don't display correctly. There are scripting errors that make there are certain secret. There's nothing game breaking as such, not really. But there are certain secret areas in the game that are inaccessible. It is technically impossible to 100% the European Saturn release of Tomb Raider because certain script.
Run up to a crate, and while still pressing
oh my god,
forward,
she's talking again.
Action, and I'll vault up onto it.
So there are scripting errors in this version of the game that prevent certain secret doors from opening, which means that there are certain secret areas which are there, they are in the map data, but the doors that let you access them do not work. And also there are certain secret areas in the game that you can reach, but the game doesn't recognize that you've reached them, so it doesn't tick them off on the end of level screen. So let's say you find all 4 secret areas in a level, but the scripting is broken in a way that it doesn't recognize that you found 2 of them. It is technically impossible to 100% this game because of shit like that. Or like I said earlier, doors don't work. These are bugs that were fixed in the other 2 Saturn releases. So if you're going to play Tomb Raider for the Sega Saturn, pick up a 60Hz copy, unless you just have really bizarre fascination with broken things like I do.
This used to be the ballroom. I don't actually run everywhere. When I want to be careful, I walk. Hold down the walk button and walk to the white line. And so
I think Sega kind of it sucks, right? Because ultimately when did the PlayStation version release? Let's see, what does Wikipedia say? Wikipedia says the PlayStation version released in Europe the 22nd of November 96, which is interesting because, okay, European Saturn version comes out 25th of October. Both the Saturn and PlayStation versions come out in North America on the 14th of October, and the European PlayStation version comes out on the 22nd of October. That's a very strange release order. So you have Europe, America, Europe. That's very strange. And then they don't list the Japanese release dates, but I know that I want to say the Japanese release of this game was in mid 97, so it was much later than the Europe and North American versions.
With the walk button down, if you want to look around, press and hold the look button.
Okay.
Then press in the direction you want to look.
So the walk button in this case is the left shoulder button. And by holding down the walk button, we can get more fine control over Lara's movement over short distances, because she just kind of because standard controls, she just kind of like leap forward and bound in a way that makes it very risky to move about on small platforms. You can quite easily accidentally fall off an edge. So they implemented this walk feature to make fine movement a lot easier. And this version of the game, I'm going to say right now, is hideous. This version runs at a significantly lower resolution than even the PlayStation version does. The textures are lower resolution than the PlayStation, or not lower resolution, but a lower color depth than the PlayStation. The LOD, or level of detail distances, are a lot more aggressive in this version of the game. You have to get a lot closer to a texture to load up its full resolution version than you do in the PlayStation version. The frame rate in this version of the game is wildly inconsistent compared to the PlayStation version. There is one, and I do mean one, well, that's not true. There's technically two, but the most obvious of the two advantages that this version has over the PlayStation version is that this version has a slightly higher draw distance. So if I was to stand in this exact spot in the PlayStation version of Tomb Raider and look at the far wall of the gym, it would be beyond the draw distance. It would just be black. You wouldn't be able to see the far wall because it would be behind the draw distance, and anything that's behind the draw distance is just displayed as black in this game. As you can see, it is just on the verge of going beyond the draw distance, but it is still technically inside the draw distance. There is another visual feature that this version of the game has that the PlayStation version doesn't, but we will see that in a minute. Okay.
If a jump is too far for me, I can grab the ledge and save myself from a nasty fall. Walk to the edge with the white line until I won't go any further. Then press jump immediately, followed by forward, and while I'm in the air, press and hold the action button.
I forget what the action button is. Is it B or C? I'm going to guess.
Press forward and I'll climb up.
It's B. B is the action button. So yeah, B lets you push switches, pull levers, grab edges, stuff like that.
If I do a running jump, I can walk to the edge with the white line until I stop. Then let go of walk and tap backwards to give me a run up. Press forward and almost immediately press and hold the jump button. I won't actually jump until the last minute. Right, this is a really big one. So do a running jump exactly as before, except while I'm in the air, press and hold the action button to make me grab the ledge.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Okay, last one.
Try to vault up here. Press forward. I can't climb up because the gap is too small. But press right and I'll shimmy sideways until there is room. Then press forward.
That's a great read on that line as a... I'll shimmy sideways until there is room. Do you want to read that again? No? One and done? Okay, that's fine. I think that's my number one favourite.
Backwards, and I'll jump off backwards. Immediately press and hold the action button, and I'll grab the ledge on the way down.
I think that's my number one favourite line of dialogue from this entire game, is that one line where she says, "I'll shimmy sideways until there is room," because it's so awkwardly read. Like she's seeing the line for the first time as she's reading it into the mic. It's like, okay, didn't want to practice that before you recorded? No? Okay. Okay. Yeah, this game, from a gameplay perspective, this game has aged horribly. A lot of people do not want to get engaged with this style of platforming. People have become so used to the like analog, full 3D analog platforming that was first introduced in games like Mario 64, that this kind of like very slow, careful, like style of platforming where positioning is more important, like positioning and accuracy is more important than speed. People just don't want to do that anymore, and so that's the main reason why going back to these games is so difficult.
The jump button and the directions move me around underwater.
Okay, so here's the other visual feature that is not present in the PlayStation version, and it's this simulated light refraction through a body of water. As you can see, the everything below the water's surface is wriggling slightly to simulate the effect of light traveling through water. This is not in the PlayStation version at all. It is in some versions of the PC release. Some people think it's not in the PC release at all. There are some people who think that this is exclusive to the Saturn version. It is not. It is in, I want to say, the DOS, the purely original DOS version of Tomb Raider. The version that doesn't make use of any hardware acceleration. It's purely like the software rendered DOS version of Tomb Raider 1. The later like Windows re-releases or re-releases that make use of like 3D accelerators, for some reason it was taken out of those versions. Maybe they just couldn't get it to work properly with a video card, and so they just took it out completely. But yeah, if you play an original, an original MS-DOS copy of Tomb Raider 1, this is technically not the original release. This is a repackaged release of the DOS version with the unfinished business bonus levels packed in. But yeah, an original software rendered DOS version does have this water feature. So anyway, okay, how do I? Okay. This original version of Tomb Raider 1 does not have the handstand, but it does have the swan dive, which is, I think it's hold down the walk button, hold down the action button, and then jumping forwards. Yep. There we go. Yeah. The PlayStation version has also another move, the handstand, where you hold down the walk and action button while climbing.
Air. Just use forward and left and right to manoeuvre around on the surface. Press jump to dive down for another swim about.
She does like to talk.
Go to the edge and press action to climb out.
Yeah, so the PlayStation version has another secret, well, not secret, but like, it's a special move you can pull off called a handstand, where if you're climbing up a ledge, if you're holding down the walk button while you climb up, Lara will do like a handstand on the edge of the platform before folding herself back onto the folding herself over and standing up again. That's not in this original version of the game. I'm not a big fan of the way Lara's character model goes all like wavy when she's in a body of water. I think that they went a little bit too far there. The wavy geometry below the water's surface looks great, but the wavy character model looks maybe a little bit too much.
Right. Now I'd better take off these wet clothes.
Okay, so that's the training mission. Okay, the training level should have ended. Okay, now it ended. Okay, the game finally realised we were done. Normally it's a lot quicker than that. Again, this version has really, like, spotty scripting. I'm going to boost the gamma just a tiny bit, because this game, especially on the Sega Saturn, is a little bit dark in places, and I want you to be able to see stuff. So I have a completed save file on my cartridge. I think it's is it on the cartridge or in the system? I don't remember, but the game is detecting a completed save file, so I can access any level I want at any time. But we're not going to do that just yet. We're going to start a new game. Aww, cute puppies. Okay, so this is the first real level of the game, the caves, and it also serves as kind of a tutorial level as well. So I think this level we're about to play was the original tutorial level, but I guess Core Design felt that it didn't do a good enough job of like fully explaining the movement controls, so they probably added the mansion training level as well, just to try and hammer in to help people understand the controls better, because there are parts of this level that we're about to play that very much feel like they were designed intentionally to introduce you to each mechanic. Also, this is maybe the single most linear level in the game. It's a single straight path from beginning to end. It's the only level in the game that's like that. Okay. This is, I would say, also in like there are slight differences in level design. In some of the levels, not all of them, just like 2 or 3 of the levels, there are very, very minor differences in geometry layout to some of the areas. I think in one of the St. Francis's Folly levels, that's the Roman ruins levels, there's like a cave or an alcove that's in the PlayStation version but not in, or like they're in all of the other versions but not in the original PAL version. So you definitely get the feel that this is like an earlier, like, I'm going to straight up call it a beta or beta version of Tomb Raider that they put into shops, and then the actual finished version of the game is what came later. It's shocking to me that no one else has done this, but I should do like a comparison of like all the differences in like level design and like the gameplay changes, and also the European version of the European Saturn release of this game is also the hardest version of the game released anywhere. This version of the game has fewer ammo drops to find, fewer health packs to find, enemies take more bullets to kill. You definitely got the sense that this game was not done. Like, they hadn't finished making it, they hadn't finished solving bugs, they hadn't finished balancing the game. Like in every way that this game could be unfinished, it is unfinished. Oh shit. Okay, so C takes your guns out. Accidentally fat fingered that. So up here is our first secret area, and you'll hear a little chime play when we enter the secret area. Yeah, did you hear that little chime? So that's the scripting I was talking about earlier. The scripting that sometimes doesn't work when you enter secret areas. You're supposed to hear that chime to let you know that the game has acknowledged that you found a secret area. Yeah, sometimes that just doesn't happen. Okay. Okay, our first enemy. Up here we've got bats. Extremely weak enemy, they only take a couple bullets to down. They're more of a nuisance, really, than an actual threat. Okay, up here we've got another secret area. You have to make sure you stand on the leftmost corner of this this ground up here, and that makes it so you are just high enough that you can grab. You can grab that ledge. I actually came to Tomb Raider like very late. I was aware of these games while I was growing up, and I thought they seemed cool, but I was not a fan of like action games in general at a young age. I didn't like games where things attacked you. I hated the idea that you were in like a big 3D environment and then there was just an enemy there and the enemy would like, you know, track you and attack you. I hated that. I found that very stressful and I didn't want to deal with it. So I didn't play a lot of very popular games while they were relevant, like the original Resident Evil games. I didn't play until like many years later. I didn't play the Tomb Raider games until many years later. I had Tomb Raider 3 for the PlayStation, but I only ever played the mansion level. Because that was the one level in the game where there were no enemies. I was a very delicate child. I didn't like the idea that enemies were out there and trying to get me, so I would only play games where that wasn't a thing, or games where the enemies were such pushovers that it wasn't stressful. I liked puzzle games, I liked racing games, I liked colourful, I liked colourful platform games like Mario 64, you know, where the enemies aren't super threatening. Except that piano in the Boo's mansion level. Fuck that thing. That thing's terrifying. So yeah, I didn't get to Tomb Raider, like classic Tomb Raider, until like the mid to late 2000s, which by then they were already completely old-fashioned and out of style, and they were at that point where if you mentioned them, you know, by name to someone, you had a very high priority of that person going, "Ugh, the original Tomb Raider, gross, ugh. Can't believe people liked those games, gross." And so it's very interesting that I'm in this very rare position where I came to these games properly. I came to them properly. I played them properly, completed them, well, the first one mostly, at a time when they were considered out of style, out of fashion, and, you know, remembered as these games that were good at the time, but now we think they're bad. But I enjoyed them. It's like, I remember playing through Tomb Raider 1 all the way through the first time in like 2008 and enjoying it thoroughly. There's just something about the experience of this game that modern games do not replicate, like, at all. You know, people like to talk about how there's just a certain style of game design that's very pervasive now, where people who make and design games do not want the player to feel challenged, at least not in the way that they fully intend. And so, you know, it's part of the yellow paint argument, where out of an extreme desire to make sure the player is always aware where they should be going and what they should be doing at all times, game developers will over design environments in a way that makes it very difficult to become, I don't know, what's the word? Immersed in an environment, because you look around an environment in a modern game and there are signposts everywhere, like not literal signposts, but like visual signposts that have been put there intentionally by the designer to help the player navigate and show the correct way and what you should be doing. And this is the ledge you're supposed to grab. This is where the switch is. You know, it's all these like very obvious design features like yellow paint or spotlights or, you know, things like that. And this game was made in an era before that. And as a result, some of these level designs are genuinely difficult to navigate in a way that can be annoying for some people, but I kind of find compelling. Because it feels like you're almost in like a real place. This place is not, like, this game is not going out of its way to show you where to go. There's no yellow paint in this game, you know? Every ledge is just as grabbable as every other ledge, you know? You really feel like you are in an environment that you have to navigate with care, you know, and I like that in environment design. I hate games that hold your hand too much, and oh boy, here comes the frame rate. This is our first real taste of this game's performance. Oh yeah, this game hovers around, I would say, the mid-teens to low 20s in terms of frame rate, which is not amazing. When the PlayStation version is almost a locked 30. There are some environments in the PlayStation version which do cause the frame rate to drop a little bit, but it's significantly better than this version. Okay, so we've got our first real enemy below us, which is this wolf. Oh, Jesus. Hi. Oh, goddamn. I fucking hate the combat in this game. I've always hated the combat in classic Tomb Raider games. I keep accidentally putting my fucking guns away. Here's the thing about combat in the classic Tomb Raider games. It sucks. It always sucked. People who tell you they like the combat in this game, they're lying. Combat in classic Tomb Raider is trash. It feels like an afterthought. It feels like something that was never solved in a satisfying way. The part of these games that appeal to me is the platforming and the exploration and the puzzle solving, the navigation of an environment and figuring out ways to get across the level and get the artifacts and things like that. Like, that's the compelling part of these games. The actual gunplay and the combat sucks. Always has, always will. And And would you believe that Tomb Raider 1 is like the least bad in terms of combat in the classic Tomb Raider games? I think as the games went on, they got way worse. I think, this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think Tomb Raider 2 is the worst classic Tomb Raider game. Fuck Tomb Raider 2. Tomb Raider 2 takes everything that was terrible about Tomb Raider 1 and doubles down on them. It's like the people who made Tomb Raider 2 thought, what's the worst part of Tomb Raider? The combat. Then we should add more combat. Not only should we add more combat, let's add a ton of enemies that do hit scan damage to you. It's like, cool, awesome. The vast majority of enemies in Tomb Raider 1 are animals who don't have guns, and so at least you have that advantage over them. You can, take advantage of level design in a way that you can stand somewhere where the enemies can't reach you properly and then just gun them down from a distance. That's a way to get around it. That's the way I would recommend you play this game. But Tomb Raider 2 makes the combat way more obnoxious by adding a shit ton of human enemies with guns who have hit scan damage, which means if you are in their line of sight, they just do damage to you. And there's no way to avoid it. But the problem is, it's not like you can avoid taking damage, because in order to shoot and kill them, you have to be able to see them. And so the only way to do damage to them is to let them do damage to you, and it just fucking sucks. Tomb Raider 2 can fuck off. They scaled that back quite a bit in Tomb Raider 3. There are significantly fewer human enemies in Tomb Raider 3. They definitely, you get a sense that they realized what they did when they were making Tomb Raider 3, and there's like, okay, let's have way fewer human enemies in this one and have more animal enemies that don't shoot back and do bullshit hit scan damage to you. Okay, there's a bear down here. There he is. Best thing you can do here is just kind of stand on the edge of this pit and just gun him, shoot him full of bullets whenever he shows up. Okay, he's not. He's hiding behind the geometry. So what we're going to do... Oh, this frame rate, Jesus Christ. This is even worse than the previous room. I'm going to jump over here. And we're just going to wait for him to come out. Come on, buddy. There we go, finally. Alright. Pro tip, if you're falling from a relatively high location, you want to hold down the roll button when you're falling. That way you will roll when you hit the ground, and you can actually negate small amounts of damage that way. Pro tip. I'm going to run in here for another secret. At least technically this is not really a secret, but it is off the path. Pressure plate opens door, takes us back to the previous big room we were in. So yeah, even as someone who likes Tomb Raider 1, I can tell you right now, the combat sucks. The combat sucks. The best way to play this game is to cheese enemies, find locations in levels where they can't reach you, and just shoot them from a distance. That is the most fun way to play this game, because trying to do the jump around flippy bullshit while you have a pack of wolves trying to chew your ears off, not fun. Okay. Holy shit, this performance in this room is awful. Okay, these floating save crystals are how you save your game. There is a limited number of these in every level. You can only use them once. They are one-time use. And I think they are an effective form of risk-reward. So whenever you come across one of these crystals in this game, there's always that decision in your mind, like, do I use it now, or do I try and do some more stuff before using it up? Because once you use the save crystal, it's gone. I'm not going to bother using it because it's the first level, it's not hard. Also, another interesting difference between the original European Saturn release of Tomb Raider and every single other version of Tomb Raider. This version of the game has fewer save crystals than any other version of the game. So, you know, adding to that hardest version of the game argument I made earlier, less ammo, less medikit, less first aid kits, less save points, animals take more bullets to kill. You know, it all adds up. Jesus Christ, this frame rate is atrocious. Almost unplayable. Ugh. It's only in certain areas as well. Whenever you enter like a big room like this, you know the frame rate is going to tank. Like, oh, Jesus. Okay, so there's a thing over there. Oh, screwed that up. Nope. Just out of reach. Okay. There we go. Another secret. Yeah. Look how close to this wall I had to get before the higher detail texture loaded in. Yeah, there we go. About here is the distance between the low detail texture and the high detail texture. You have to get like halfway into the room. In the PlayStation version, the LOD distance for that texture would have been about here. You have to get a lot closer to walls before they load in all the way. Let's just go ahead and use a safe pack. Or a medipack. I just called it a safe pack. Why did I do that? Okay. Okay. Okay, we've got a timed challenge here. I'm going to hit this switch and the door over there is going to open, but it's only going to open for a limited time. So... I've got to do this correctly. That door's only open for about 20 seconds. This game has a good soundtrack, like very spooky atmospheric music. It really feels like, I don't know, you're exploring like an old forgotten ruin full of traps and dangerous animals. Oh god, my microphone's still off. Oh dear. Whoops. I thought I turned it back on, but I guess I didn't. Whoops. So yeah, 14 kills, 6 pickups, 3 of 3 secrets. Luckily, all the secrets in the first level have working scripting. We took our time a little bit, but I'm showing the game, so it doesn't matter. Normally I'd get that level done in about 10 minutes. Where are we at? Just over an hour. Okay. So... Wait, what am I holding? Are these... Okay, right, yes, okay. So, because even though I started a new game for this, because the game has detected a completed save file, it gives you all of the weapons. So I haven't actually picked these up yet, but because the game has detected I have a completed save file on my system, it just gives you everything. It's one of those New Game Plus perks, I guess you could say. Fuck it, let's use the Uzis. Oh yeah, there's one of those audio bugs I mentioned. There's a one of those bugs that is fixed in every single other version of the game, including the other 2 Saturn releases. Oh boy, PAL Saturn Tomb Raider is a mess. Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at the models for the guns, and I noticed they're a little bit extra chunky. I'm like, wait a minute, do I have all the guns? That's silly. Okay. All right, let's pick up the pace a little bit in this level. Let's do the standard sweep. Did it again. I keep accidentally putting my guns away. wasting Uzi ammo on bats is like a horrible... is a terrible thing. You would never do that if you were playing this game normally. Uzi ammo in this game is like gold dust. You find it and you hoard it. Uzi ammo in this game is almost exclusively found in secret areas, so it's not ammo you use willy-nilly. You use it in situations where it's very necessary, like bosses and stuff like that. So yeah, you would never, ever, ever waste Uzi ammunition on enemies as pathetic as bats. See, when you're in like these very small, like enclosed spaces, the frame rate is fine. It's just when you enter the big open areas that it takes a fat shit. Okay, and we're back at the starting point. Good. Just want to do a quick sweep of the perimeter because I knew there was a bunch of enemies around the area, around the perimeter. Okay, there's a bear in here. I want to say he doesn't activate until you walk up to the doorway. So I'm going to walk up to the doorway and I'm going to immediately fucking back off. Jesus Christ. That fucking bear. Holy shit. Oh. Okay, there is a health pack in here. Medipack. Health kit, medipack, first aid kit, whatever. All the names are interchangeable. Okay. There it is. It's the only thing in this room. I want to say in the PlayStation version there is one other pickup in that room, but in this version it's just the one small medikit. Okay. Alright. Let's do some swimming. The most stressful part of any 3D platformer, the underwater sections. Okay, but I'm not going to go through that door, I'm going to go back the way I came. Because I think we have a limited amount of time to get to a door. After hitting that switch, you only get one opportunity to get to it. And it didn't open. Awesome. Cool. So this is one of the secret areas in this version of the game that may have busted scripting. This door, if I remember correctly, is meant to open after you pull that lever in the underwater area, but it only stays open for like a minute, and so you have to get here quickly before it closes again. But I'm pretty sure the scripting for it in this version is busted, and you cannot actually get through that door. So this is one of the levels you cannot 100% in this version of the game, which is a bummer. Because I want to say this is like the only reason you would ever really come up here. I don't think there's any pickups in this room otherwise. Yeah, there's nothing else in here apart from that broken door to an unreachable secret room. Cool. Like I said, that is a bug that is fixed in the other releases. You know, it's not the Saturn version in general, it's just the PAL version, because Sega had to have their fucking early release date, which meant Core was forced to release an unfinished game. Thanks, Sega of Europe. Thanks for that. Okay. But this is a secret area. So this is... okay. We get one of the two secret areas in the underwater section, but not the... not both of them. Okay. That takes us back to the main area. Okay, I'm getting turned around. Where's the actual progress? I think it's here. No. Okay, that's the door we want to unlock. We've got to find a key for this door. I forget where the actual the progress is. We'll find it. It's just we need to run around a little bit first and... aha, I found it. There we go. Look at that. Easy. Okay. In the room full of skulls, music kicks in to reflect the fact that you found a sick room full of skulls. Okay. Grab that before the platforms break so I can pick up this health packet. Get in behind this block. There we go. Okay, so we found one of the key items. It's not the thing you need to get through the door, but it is something we need to finish the level. And then over here, though, is the key we need to get through the door. I like how both of them are in the same room. Like, oh, hey, both of the key items you need in this area are just in the same room. Nice. Uh-oh, I think I need that block. Yeah. Yeah, grab this block and drag it all the way back through this tunnel. There's like a homebrew project that's been going on for the last few years called Open Lara, which is very interesting. It's a people have been coming up with an open source like engine, like an open source like classic Tomb Raider engine that lets them port the original game to platforms that didn't originally have Tomb Raider on it. And it's really interesting. There's been some really like fascinating little homebrew ports of Tomb Raider 1 that have come as a result of it. I think probably my personal favourite ports are probably the Game Boy Advance and 32X versions of Tomb Raider that people have managed to get working. Obviously they are massively reduced versions of the game, like reduced like visually, even like much less than the Saturn version. But and of course they're you know, they don't look good or run well, but they're kind of interesting and like they're just kind of neat to see. Like, it's neat to see Tomb Raider running on a Game Boy Advance. Like, people forget that the Game Boy Advance is actually like significantly like more powerful than most people remember. The GBA could render 3D environments, very basic 3D environments, but 3D environments, you know. And the 32X also, it's interesting to see a game like Tomb Raider running on a 32X. It looks and runs like shit, but it's Tomb Raider, and it runs and it's playable. It's neat. There's another health pack there, hidden in the shadows. Yeah, there's also somebody ported it to the 3DO as well, using this Open Lara engine. It's really neat to see like people doing homebrew ports of classic games to platforms that never intended to run them. You know, it's interesting. Like I said, a lot of these fan-made ports are not like they don't run well, but it's fun. It's fun to look at and say, "Hey, look at that! That's neat." Okay, so find the key, skeleton key. That should open this door, and that will let us into the second half of this level. Oh, poison darts. Mind the poison darts. Bad frame rate. A lot of wolves in this area. Okay. It's very popular for people to like make fun of and, you know, talk shit about classic Tomb Raider these days, because we're all so used to, like, you know, the comfort and convenience of modern controls, you know. But back in the day, these games were a huge fucking deal. They were doing things that like almost no other games were even attempting, and so people just kind of accepted them for what they were, because there was just nothing really, there's nothing else to compare them to, you know. There were no other like there were other 3D platformers, but no 3D platformers that were doing this style of platforming. We'll talk more about the platforming specifically in a bit, but also 3D platformers that had combat and puzzles and, you know, it's games. This was still an era of games where games specialized in specifically one type of gameplay. Like, you know, either you're just platforming and just jumping from platform to platform, or you're just shooting things, or you're just solving puzzles. This game was doing all three things at once, you know, in a way that I don't think like really any other games were trying to do, at least not 3D games. And Core were doing the best that they could with the control options available to them. You know, the overwhelming majority of people in 1996 had never ever touched an analog stick. And so Core decided, well, we're going to design the game around D-pads, because that's the control standard that the overwhelming majority of people have. And I think as long as you're playing the game with that in mind, you're being cautious, you're taking positioning, you're being very careful with your positioning, you know, you are playing around, you know, the limitations of your controls. This game is actually quite enjoyable. You see people struggle a lot when playing this because, you know, they're used to playing 3D action games a certain way, and trying to adjust their brain to retrain themselves to play a much more, you know, play with a much more limited control scheme just fucks with them. They can't handle it. Like, what do you mean I can't very easily just, you know, run around the room and grab a ledge, you know, without, you know, with 2 button presses or whatever? What do you mean I have to slowly walk up to an edge, look around to judge my distance, then back up, and then hit forward, then jump, and then be ready with the action button just in case I don't quite make it? Like, what do you... People get very upset when they have to think about things now for some reason. We're so used to games doing the hard work for us that people don't want to... They don't like struggling. And to me, the struggle is part of the fun. You know, like walking into an environment and like looking around and going, okay, what kind of fresh bullshit is this? Like that's part of the fun for me. You know, that's part of the puzzle. That's part of the interaction. You know, games should be a challenge. They shouldn't just be theme park rides for content tourists. Which is kind of what most modern games have become. There are exceptions, you know, there are still plenty of hard games being made for people that do want that challenge, but I feel like the majority of most definitely like mainstream releases have too much yellow paint. And I miss this style of 3D platformer. That's what I should say. Games that force you to, you know, examine your surroundings carefully and try and plot out your moves before you make them, instead of, you know, trusting that you'll be able to do it on the fly because the game is forgiving. And I'm rambling. And I'm not trying to say the controls in this are perfect. They're very much not. They are they are of their era. You know, there are plenty of improvements that you could make that wouldn't, I think, take away from the core experience. Okay, I remember this being difficult because you have to run up to this. Okay. There's a collapsible platform there, so I've got to be careful. Okay. Do I risk it and run across the collapsible platforms, or do I take the safe route? Let's take the safe route. So I don't want to do this again. Okay. So if you hop in place, Lara will very, very slowly inch forward, and that's another pro tip. In fact, there are some key bugs in, well, not bugs, but, well, they are bugs, but they're developer-approved bugs that are in every version of the game. There are ways that you can get around levels in an unintended way by abusing that mechanic, the inch forward while jumping in place mechanic. In fact, that there are items in this game that you cannot get unless you make use of that bug, and that is developer intended. So, and that's a bug that is in every single classic Tomb Raider from 1 to 5. I think it's called the jumping teleport bug. At least I think that's what it's called. I can't remember. But yeah, there are certain items in the classic Tomb Raider games that you cannot get unless you can make use of that bug, which I think is quite funny. The devs knew, like, yeah, we know, but we think this bug is kind of funny and cool, so we're going to keep it. In fact, we're going to place items in the game to encourage you to do it. Okay, that opens up the final middle door. Okay. I'm not going to fall here because that drop would kill us. Okay. Roll when I hit the ground to avoid taking damage. Enter the middle door. Okay, we've got swinging blades in this hallway, so... Okay. Wait for the blades to swing and run by. So we're going to enter the final area of the level. And there's another bear here. This is probably the most annoying bear in the level because he likes to run around a lot and refuses to stay in one place so you can shoot him. I like that the light refraction effect also works while you're underwater. So if you're in a body of water and you're looking up through the surface, everything above the surface of the water is all wiggly. So it works in both directions, which is very neat. Okay, so we're not going to... Oh, come on now. There we go. Couldn't get Lara to dive under the water, which is weird. Yeah, we're not going to climb up here because that just makes us a sitting duck for the bear. So we're going to swim through the tunnel and come up over here in a location where the bear cannot reach us. And then we're going to try and pin ourselves in a position where we can get the best view possible and gun this bear down from a distance, because fuck bears. God damn it. It's going to be annoying. He's going to hang out in a location where we can't reach him. Oh, he's absolutely... Oh, no, here he comes. Here he comes. Oh, you motherfucker. I see you. Come out into the room where I can shoot you, you coward. Why won't you let me shoot you? Oh my god, I'm going to have to go down there, aren't I? Oh, that sucks. Normally he pokes out himself out enough that you can still shoot him, but not this time, I think. It's going to be difficult. There we go. Okay, that opens one of the doors to the exit. Any luck? Is he not gonna... Got him. Okay, I think he's dead. Yep. Okay. Bear down. Alright, so we're not going to finish the level just yet. I'm going to go up here because I'm going to grab an additional secret. So it's actually very cleverly hidden because you don't. It's not hidden behind a secret door or anything. It's just very, very clever level design so that it doesn't stand out. But if you notice, this wall over here goes back further than the others. And there should be something here. Oh wait, yes, there it is, in the middle of the room. So yeah, this is our first Uzi ammo. I actually don't have to worry about ammo because the game has detected a completed save file, so it just gives you all of the weapons with unlimited ammo. So you don't actually have to I don't actually have to pick up ammo anymore if I don't want to, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm showing off the game. Okay. And that golden idol we found earlier. Oh, god damn it. Wrong button again. Do that a lot. Oh, that audio bug is getting worse. Could you imagine if you came all the way here and you'd you didn't pick up the golden idol? You'd have to go all the way back to the first part of the level and do it again. That would be torture. But luckily, I have these levels more or less memorized, so I can get all the important stuff and not miss anything. All right, this is one of the most famous levels in the game. This is the level with the T-Rex. So we're just going to go straight there. So the idea is you want to open a, you want to redirect the water flow in this cave so you can access a hidden door. But in order to redirect that water flow, you have to repair a device, and the missing pieces of the device are scattered around the level. And so you kind of have to look for those missing pieces. Is it dead? It's dead. Okay, cool. pro tip, in this version of the game, there is absolutely no reason to go this way. All that's down that cave is 3 wolves. There are no items, there's no ammo, there's no health packs in this version of the game, just the wolves. So you can just straight up ignore that area of the cave. I want to say in the PlayStation version there's like a health pack down there, but not in this version. Accidentally overshot. I like this low poly skeleton. Look at him. Okay, I'm going to change weapons. Let's use the magnums. The magnums are just more powerful handguns with limited ammo, typically. Audio bug still there. So we enter this big wide open area where the frame rate just tanks and just dies and... Okay. Here comes the T-Rex. I'm going to just straight up ignore him for now and run into this little hole. There's the T-Rex. He's great. He's very low poly and he's adorable. And he's just going to run backwards and forwards across this map at will and not stay in one place so we can just shoot him. I love that this game does the Jurassic Park thing where every time the T-Rex takes a step, as it's getting closer to you, the camera jolts to simulate, you know, the heavy impact of his footfalls. God damn it! So you can tell when he's getting close because you see the camera jolt in time with his steps. I think that's a nice little touch. Come on now. Let me shoot you. Here he comes. God damn it. There he is. Come on, you fucker. Tell you what, fuck you. Normally I just stay there and shoot you, but I think you're low enough health that I'm going to risk it. Also, his roar is missing in this version. Normally he roars when he does that. But in this version it makes no sound, which is very awkward. Again, another PAL Saturn bug. Oh dear. All other versions of the games he roars when he does that animation. Makes an actual audible sound. Okay. Grab the unnecessary shotgun ammo because I don't need it. Oh god, the frame rate's so bad in this area. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, I think... Hey, there's another secret area. Oh god, that texture. Another secret area up here. climb up here, then you want to hop across this gap and grab that ledge, and then you can actually shimmy along this texture. This secret is kind of bullshit because visually there's no visual indicator to suggest that you can make this. Like, this just looks like a single texture. And there's really no visual indication that that's something you should be able to traverse, but you can. And you want to climb, okay, shimmy to about here, because this is the spot that has just enough headroom for Lara to stand. Oh, and there's some extra magnum ammo there as well, which would be useful if we didn't already have infinite ammo. Whoops. Oh, took some damage. Should be one of those machine pieces in this room. There's also a velociraptor. Fucking asshole. God damn it. Let's use one of these. To climb all the way up here. There's our first piece. Yeah, I have this level pretty much memorized, so I know where all three pieces are. For some reason, the music kicks in now. Okay. Okay, music. Oh, man. Do I want to fall from here? No, I don't want to fall from here. I want to jump across this gap. I'm going to say something that some people might not like, but I've had this this opinion for a while now. I'm going to say it. Tomb Raider 1 is the true successor to Flashback. And I say that primarily because the platforming. Anyone who's played the original Flashback will know exactly what I'm talking about. Flashback uses that style of 2D platforming that was first made popular by games like Prince of Persia. That very like methodical walk up to a ledge, lower yourself down, or walk up to a ledge, jump up, grab the ledge, pull yourself up, judge your distance, run, do a running jump, grab the ledge on the way over if you need to. It's that style of platforming, but done in 3 dimensions. And Flashback was a very popular game in its day. I almost guarantee that the people who made Tomb Raider 1 were playing a lot of Flashback. And they're probably their primary inspiration for the traversal and platforming in this game comes from Flashback. And since the actual 3D sequel to Flashback is dog shit, fuck Fade to Black, it's a terrible game. Fade to Black sucks in every way possible. Since the actual 3D sequel to Flashback is so bad, I'm going to go ahead and say that Tomb Raider 1 is the honorary Flashback 2. Okay, there's another secret I want to get. That is, it's probably the most difficult to get to secret in this level because you have to do a series of like bullshit jumps. Okay. Okay, stay in position. Back up. At a relatively acute angle. Jump from here, so we grab the very edge of the platform. Any more angle than that and Lara won't grab it. Okay. And again with this one, you want to angle yourself, but not too much. There we go. And then make a running jump from here over to the roof of the ruin. And grab the spoils. So just want to say, this is one of the few areas of the game where there's no, like, ceiling. There's no roof. Like, we're not in a cave anymore. Technically, we are outside. Come on now. Pick the damn thing up. There we go. Okay. Textbook. Now we've got another underwater section. Jump down here. Okay, we've got the second piece of the machine. I want to say in the PlayStation version there's an item down here in the opposite corner, but not in this version. Or is it an item in one of these corners? It's either in the opposite corner underwater or it's in one of these corners in the entrance side of the room. But yeah, it's not here in this version. Ooh. Okay, now we've got to grab the third and final piece of the machine, which is actually not very far away. We climb up here. Make our way past the additional save crystal that kind of gets in the way. It's very telling that they put a save crystal right there, because I suspect a lot of people in playtesting probably died right here. So they're like, what if we place a save crystal right before this difficult jump to minimize frustration? So yeah, we get this big broken bridge, and the only way to clear this jump is to do a full back up, run and jump plus grab. Okay. Okay, and that's our third and final machine piece. I'm not going to drop to the ground from here, because even if I do a landing roll, I'm still going to take a significant amount of damage. We are high enough up for that. Like, they place it right in the middle of the path as well, as a way of saying, hey, 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 you should save, hey. Okay. Let's run back through this area. Let's go and check out that T-Rex corpse. I love how low poly and chunky this T-Rex is. Look at him. Look how dumb he looks. Look at his big bulbous head. He's so low poly. Okay, let's get the hell out of here. Oh, no, hang on. Bit over. There we go. Whoops, okay. So now we've got to make our way back up to the top of the waterfall. We've got to very carefully platform our way along the river. If we miss a jump, we're going to land in the water and it's going to carry us all the way back down to where the waterfall is. So I'm going to try not to screw up. Oh shit, I fucked up. Okay, running jump next time. God damn it. Yeah, once you land in the water, there's no way out. You have to follow the water all the way down to the waterfall and start from scratch. Oh my god, this frame rate. It might even be slightly worse than I remember. I thought a standing jump would be enough, but I guess not. Okay. Ooh. Careful now. Okay, this one's actually tricky. You've got to take a couple steps back from the edge and then do a standing jump, or Lara gets caught on that angled ceiling above her and you end up falling into the water anyway. Okay. So this is the machine we've got to repair. And also, another bug in this version of the game, you'll notice that some of the cogs look a little bit strange. The textures aren't placed correctly, so they look super, like, bugged out. Like, there's only a quarter of a texture in some spots. It looks super fucked up. It's just add it to the list of bugs in the PAL version. Oh god. No, wrong button. B button. It's annoying because in gameplay, B is use, but in the menus, A is accept, and you get mixed up between the two all the time. So you want to press the same button twice, but you should never do that. It's got to be B, then A. Yeah, not only is the asset placement incorrect right here in this version, but the animation that's about to play is also bugged up, which you're about to see when I pull this switch. The animation does not look correct. Super janky looking gear animation. Okay. Before we go down, I'm going to shimmy along here and grab another secret. Uh-oh, I'm caught. Damn it, half step back. Then bend down. Okay, some of the positioning for picking up items is a little bit annoying. Gotta make sure you're standing directly on top of the item before Lara will accept the fact that you're close enough to pick it up. Normally, this is the level where you find the shotgun. It's normally this skeleton who has it. But because we already have the shotgun, it's not here. And it's been replaced with a some shotgun ammo. But yeah, normally on your first playthrough, this is where you find the shotgun, next to this skeleton boy. You know, time to do some more underwater swimming. So you can come down here when before you redirect the water, but without the water you can't make it up this up to this room. So, and up here is where the final secret lies. If I can get Lara to stand directly on the fucking thing. There we go. Some shotgun shells and... oh god. God damn it. That's my fault. I did that. Some shotgun shells and I think a health kit? Nope, some more shotgun shells. More useless shotgun shells that we don't need. Oh, and a medi-pack. Okay. Okay, now we're back in the main open area at the start of the map. And you can see now, because we've diverted the water flow, the waterfall is no longer a thing. The waterfall is no longer flowing. There are some secret scripted camera angles in this game. If you were to jump from certain locations, there are scripted camera angles which will kick in if you know where they are, and one of them is right here. So if you stand on this very edge here and you dive into the water, you get this little alternate camera angle there. Little cinematic camera. Okay, now the waterfall is deactivated. We can now get back here, which is the end of the level. There we go. What are we at? Just over 2 hours. Okay. Secrets 5 of 5. Got them all. 10 kills. No. What's the time? It's just gone 12 o'clock. Got plenty of time. What I'll probably do, this is the first actual tomb in this game. The game's called Tomb Raider, but surprisingly, very little of the levels in the game are actual tombs. It's mostly you trying to get to tombs. Oh man, some of these textures. Whoop. I like the story of the development of this game, which was apparently Core Design was at some point looking to develop an Indiana Jones game, but they couldn't get hold of the license to do it. Apparently the rights holders to Indiana Jones wanted way too much money to use the name, so they were like, fuck it, we'll make our own off-brand Indiana Jones game about you know, exploring ruins and tombs and looking for artifacts and stuff like that, you know. And apparently during early development, when they were still coming up with like character designs, someone was messing around with the then in progress character model, which would eventually become Lara, which started off as a man. Someone was messing around in the model editor and accidentally changed a value, which resulted in the model editor looking like it had large breasts, you know, which made the model look like suddenly it had grown a pair of breasts. And the two people in the room looking at it were like, holy shit, oh my god. Like, of course, we should make the main character a sexy lady, of course. And it worked out very well for them. Lara Croft is an icon. I think I think a lot of like the marketing, especially for the early Tomb Raider games, is disgusting. A lot of the early like 90s and early 2000s Tomb Raider marketing is like really hypes up the fact that you're playing like an attractive woman with an hourglass figure in a way that I think undermined the game a little bit, because you ended up with a lot of people who would then refuse to play these games because they felt grossed out by all the advertising and how the advertising would like obsess over like this fake polygon woman, and I kind of completely understand that. I think in some ways the marketing for these old Tomb Raider games definitely did help sell the games to a certain type of person, but also I think it unsold the games to other types of people. And I think there were a lot of people back then who probably would have really enjoyed these games had the people responsible for marketing these games actually talked more about the gameplay, and rather than look at this hot polygon lady, look at her, she's wearing a skin tight top. It's like, okay, guy, maybe if you talked more about the fact that you're exploring all these like intricate 3D environments with puzzles and dangerous animals and, and risky platforming, maybe that would have been a more effective marketing strategy, but I don't know, I'm not a marketing guy. Okay, immediately turn around because there's a velociraptor that's going to come out. 2 of them, in fact. There we go. Let's go this way. We've got this room with spikes and a couple of moving platforms. Remember correctly, we don't want to hit the switch yet, because we want this platform to stay where it is. So we can get to here. I want to say that platform is slightly too high for a standing jump. Oh no, that's fucking great. Maybe it wasn't. Ugh. I don't remember this one that clearly. I remember the broad strokes of the level, but individual jumps escape me. Okay. Do a standing jump. Yeah, that's fine. That's good enough. And again. I heard something move. Something activated. Okay. Okay, it was this door. This door activated. So I want to say now we move that. Did I actually want that? I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Whoops. But it's okay, I can make it up here anyway. Another switch. That moves that platform to a position that we can reach. Oof. Can we get to it from here? Yes, we can. Awesome. Okay, so take a step back. Jump. Here we go. Hit this switch. And that raises one of the doors in the main chamber. Okay. Oof. Okay, and there's a Velociraptor is going to spawn in the area where we entered this room. Come on. Okay. If you give me just a second, I need to quickly do something. Back in a mo. Okay, and I'm back. So I had to quickly take care of something. Okay, we've done the chicken. Now let's do the whatever that is. Okay. I think this is a trap. I think there are enemies below here. Oh, don't put the fucking thing away. Okay. Oh, fucking Tomb Raider combat. I hate it. Okay. Luckily the shotgun makes very short work of wolves. Even in this version. Okay. So we need to pull this out. Hop across. Push it out the way. Okay. Okay, there is a thing down there. And that's what we want. That should lower one of the other gates, or raise the gate, rather. There's another thing here. Grab it while we're here, may as well. Okay. Door number 2. Door number 3. Whoops, I accidentally hit the shoulder. A lot of fat fingering going on today. Alright. Okay, this block is here to prevent us from pulling this block out, because Lara will only pull a block if she has a full 2 squares of free space behind her, because she needs a place to stand. So the only way we can move this is forwards. Hang on. Okay. That's the third and final switch. So now we can make our way up to the second part of the level. But now we have a problem. Little pit here. So, if I remember correctly, the best way to deal with this is to just run and just hold the action button to grab the opposite ledge. I hope I'm correct, because we haven't saved. I'm wrong! Haha! Oh well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, let's load. Tell you what, let's load up a later level. Let's load up. No, that's too late. Scion. The Cistern. The Cistern is an extremely notorious level. It's one of the more complicated and therefore harder levels in the game, in terms of in terms of like level design and puzzle complexity, and also it taxes the frame rate on the PlayStation version, which means on the Saturn version it runs like shit. Get off, please. Thank you. No, oh, God damn it. Keep pressing the wrong button. There we go. B is grab, not A. Huh. Well, screwed that up. Should have pushed it, not pulled it. Whatever. What's an extra 30 seconds of grunting? A box arrived the other day with something in it for this series that I bought. There's a game coming up not too long from now that is makes use of a certain kind of controller, and if I don't play said game with specific controller, I'm sure some people will be annoyed. It's like, well, you didn't really give this game a fair chance because you didn't play it with the proper controller. So I went ahead and purchased this controller, so when we do finally get to this specific game, no one can tell me I didn't play it correctly. And boy, that thing's big. It's a lot bigger than I expected. Some of you might already know what I'm talking about. But yeah, in the next, I'm going to say 5 episodes from now, 4 to 5 episodes from now, we're going to be playing a game, and we're going to be playing it with a very specific controller. And boy, what an experience. Anyway, back to Tomb Raider. Back to Tomb Raider. I thought I might just give a little preview. Anyway, check this shit out. We're going to walk out here and just watch the frame rate drop. Oh! Check this fucking frame rate out. God damn. Borderline unplayable. I'm wondering whether it was even worth to push the draw distance that far out. I'm thinking because, like I said earlier, the Saturn version has a bigger draw distance than the PlayStation version, but maybe they should have actually brought it in a little bit. Maybe it would have saved some frames, because holy shit. Yeah, this is one of the more notoriously poorly running parts of the game. Like I said, this area doesn't run super well even in the PlayStation version. Like it hovers around like the mid. Well, it's already in the mid. If you were playing an NTS, a 60 Hz version of Tomb Raider 1, this area of the game would run at about 25 frames a second. In a PAL version, it runs somewhere in the low 20s. But as you can see, this Sega Saturn version of Tomb Raider, the frame rate dips, I'm going to say very briefly, below 10 frames a second when you are standing in the middle of the room. It is atrocious how this how badly this game performs in specific areas. Oh yeah, look at that frame rate. Check that shit out. That has got to be lower than 10 frames a second. I might even do a frame count while I'm uploading the video just to see what the average frames a second in this section here is, staring out into the middle of the Cistern's main chamber. I might put that in the comments below. Anyway. Okay. Oof. It really makes platforming a chore when the frame rate is this choppy. I'm not going in the right direction at all. I'm just kind of fucking around and oh shit! The Frenchman! Okay. This is one of those very rare human enemies in this game. This guy is scripted. He will show up occasionally in certain levels to harass you, and you shoot him enough times, he'll run away. I think what happens is, if you put enough bullets into him, he will try and leave your line of sight, and when his model leaves your line of sight, it will disappear. So when I walk back into this room, he should be gone. He's disappeared back into the shadows. Yeah, that's how he works. He will occasionally show up to fuck with you. You chase him off and he'll come back again later. Whoops, wrong button. Haha, I did it again. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble, like, with the A and B buttons in this game. Pressing A when I should press B, and pressing B when I should press A. Ooh, okay. For some reason in this level, the health kits, the medipacks have lost their red cross. Earlier in the game, these pickups had red crosses on them. Now the red cross isn't coloured in. It's very strange. I don't know why. The cross in the middle of the circle is now brown like the rest of the sprite. I don't know why that's suddenly changed. I think the only way out of here is underwater. Oh god, swimming rats. There we go. Goddamn rats. Okay, we have a key over there. A mysterious key. We have a low ceiling, so I'm not going to jump from here. Oh, fuck. Again, doing a running jump when a standing jump would have been better. Get off me. I think this is the part people hate most about these games, is trying to line up a jump, missing the jump, having to then recover and then get back to where you were so you can line up the jump again and then maybe miss it again. I will say that the platforming does have a certain amount of trial and error to it. And there's usually very severe consequences for missing a jump. You either take damage or you drop down to an earlier part of the level, so you have to spend time getting back up again. The platforming is extremely unforgiving. In a way that I personally enjoy, but a lot of people don't. What's with all the rats? And why are they so hungry for human flesh? Oh, there's actually nothing here. Why even have this shimmying area? And we're back out. Well, let's finish off by doing a classic bit of some classic Tomb Raider shenanigans, shall we? First of all, let's find a high place. Oh my god, this frame rate is horrific. What? What did I run into? Nothing. What? Huh? That was weird. An invisible wall just there. It wouldn't let me jump. Very strange. Okay. How do I get back up again? Oh, I see. Yeah, I remember the later levels less well because I spent the least amount of time in these levels. Obviously, I spent the majority of my time playing the earlier levels. I would say any level past the Colosseum is probably a level I'm not going to remember too well. Like the Colosseum is like halfway through the game, and also the last level that I have like any extensive memories of. Okay, let's find a place nice and high. And then what we're going to do, we're going to swan dive onto solid ground. And just break Lara's neck. So she tumbles into a heap, dead. just dies. Specifically because you I did a swan dive, and not just because of the height. Very silly. Anyway, that is enough, I think. We're at 2.5 hours. I think that's enough. So, where are we going to put Tomb Raider? I'm extremely conflicted because I really like Tomb Raider 1. Like I said, it's one of my favourite games from this generation. Even though, for most people, it has aged horribly, like to the point where it's impossible to go back to. And also the Sega Saturn version, specifically the European Sega Saturn version, is straight up unfinished. It's an unfinished mess. Even compared to both of the 60 Hz versions, you know, where a lot of those bugs and problems were fixed. I'm not sure. I love this game, but also this like I said at the end of the last video, this is I think the worst, hands down the worst officially released version of the game. Even the N-Gage version of Tomb Raider is better, you know, at least from a performance and visual fidelity standpoint. I'm sure the N-Gage version actually plays worse because you're having to use that fucking phone keypad to play it, but from a performance and visual standpoint, that version is way better. And it's funny because this is the original version of the game. The Sega Saturn was lead platform for Tomb Raider. And yet it's the worst version of the game. I can't even call it a bad port because it's not a port, it's the original version. Because at least if something's a bad port, you've usually got the excuse of, well, you know, it's being ported from a platform with a completely different architecture and the developers didn't want to rebuild the game completely from the ground up, so they reused a lot of the code that wasn't optimized for this system, and you can't even make that excuse. It runs like shit. I think Gun Griffin is a better Sega Saturn game. Athlete Kings is a much better Sega Saturn game. Like, if I was comparing the best version of Tomb Raider, like, let's say, I don't know, the version that most people played, the PlayStation 1 version, I think the PlayStation 1 Tomb Raider 1 is like, it's up here somewhere, you know, I love it that much, but Saturn Tomb Raider is rough. It is borderline unplayable in some spots. Magic Carpet is a better Sega Saturn game. Saturn Wipeout is a better Sega Saturn experience. Panzer Dragoon 1 is a better experience. Actually, I don't know, because Tomb Raider is like... Tomb Raider's got so much more scope and ambition than Panzer Dragoon. Like, got the large 3D environments. It was the first version of the game to come out, so it was the first time anyone had seen it. Like I said before, people make fun of classic Tomb Raider now and like to, you know, say, oh, it's bad, it's awful, it was never good, you know. It's like, no, these games were considered good because they were doing incredible things in their time. You know, like my favourite part of Tomb Raider is just the platforming and the exploration and the puzzle solving. The combat sucks shit, always, but the exploration part of the game is, I think, still very compelling to people who have the patience to want to deal with that stuff. I'm going to say International Victory Goal is definitely better. Okay. And I'm going to say Tomb Raider 1 is definitely a better game than Time Warner Interactive's Virtua Racing. So... here. From 38 to 69. Let's try and... okay, I'm going to say Tomb Raider is definitely a better game than RoboPit, even in its Sega Saturn form. It narrows it down quite a lot. I would rather play Tomb Raider than Wing Arms. Even, again, in this, like, worst official version, like, hobbled form. I would rather play Valora Valley Golf and Sega Worldwide Soccer than Saturn Tomb Raider. I think Saturn Tomb Raider is a better game than Street Fighter the movie. I think Saturn Tomb Raider is a better game than Earthworm Jim or Gex. Virtua Fighter 1. Is a very simple game, both gameplay-wise and aesthetically and graphically. But there is great charm in that simplicity. There's a purity to it in its simplicity. And it runs well. It's got a good frame rate, which I should fucking hope so for a game that looks so basic. So I'm going to say I would rather play Virtua Fighter 1 than Saturn Tomb Raider. Also, don't forget, we are specifically ranking the PAL version of Saturn Tomb Raider, which is the worst version of Tomb Raider. It is the worst even among the Saturn releases of Tomb Raider. The PAL version stands out as unfinished and broken. So like I said before, if anyone wants to play Tomb Raider on the Saturn, pick up one of the 60Hz versions. They are less buggy and less broken. Unless, like I said, you have like a strange, like, fascination with broken things like I do. I have such an intense apathy towards Mortal Kombat that I think I would rather play Saturn Tomb Raider than UMK3. I'm going to say, like, I think Ultimate Mortal Kombat is a better, like, ultimately a better made, in this one example, a better made game. Has, like, better frame rate, it is a very finely crafted game. But I just don't like I just don't like Mortal Kombat. I just don't care about it. It's not a particularly fun fighting game to me. So I would rather play Saturn Tomb Raider than UMK3, definitely. I'm going to say Saturn Tomb Raider is a better game than Shockwave Assault. I'm going to say Saturn Tomb Raider is not as good as Striker 96 or Shell Shock. I think Panzer Dragoon 1 is a better game. I would rather play the Saturn version of Thunderhawk 2 than the Saturn version of Tomb Raider. Which is weird, because most people would consider Tomb Raider 1 to be Core Design's like magnum opus. Not Thunderhawk 2. But specifically on the Sega Saturn, Thunderhawk 2 is a better game. Boy, comparing Saturn Tomb Raider to Shining Wisdom is like holding up two extremely rotten pieces of fruit and trying to decide which one is like more appetizing. Like they're both extremely interesting and very, very ambitious, but they both have horrible issues. Boy, this is Shining Wisdom, Saturn Tomb Raider. I think Shining Wisdom is a laborious, aesthetically ugly mess of an action RPG, but I think it's got some very good ideas, and it's got some charm to it that classic Shining games have. Tomb Raider is just kind of like Saturn Tomb Raider is a specific, again, PAL Saturn Tomb Raider is a clunky, ugly, broken, unfinished mess of a game that needed another month in the cooker. And for that reason, I'm going to put it below Shining Wisdom. So there you have it. Tomb Raider is number 47 on our list. A lot lower than I originally thought I would put it. I initially thought I was going to put this game somewhere in the mid-20s to mid-30s. I thought it was going to go up here somewhere, but I cannot deny the horrible technical problems with this very specific version of the game. Wow, we really got fucked. European Sega Saturn owners really got fucked. Some people might say this is still too high. I'm sure there's many people watching this who would say Tomb Raider is shit, it was always shit, it doesn't deserve to be in the top 100. But I have a soft spot for Tomb Raider. I still like the gameplay loop and the pacing and the platforming of those classic Tomb Raider games. That makes me a little bit more forgiving towards it than most today, I assume. Yeah, number 47 feels right. Just inside the top 50. It will probably not stay there for very long. It's probably going to get pushed out of the top 50 in the next 3 or 4 videos, I suspect. Anyway, that's it for this video. Next week, we are returning to 3 games a video for the next 4 weeks. So there won't be a 0.5 episode for a while. I know there's been quite a few 0.5 episodes lately, but that will not be the case for at least a month. Next week, we have a very special game. Not special enough for it to deserve its own video, but special enough that we can... I can reference it right now. We have a 2D fighting game from Capcom. We have a top-down driving game. And we have another wrestling game. Joy. You take the good with the bad. And there are certainly elements of both in the next video. Anyway, please look forward to that. Thank you for joining me. As always, my name is the Real Blue Dragon, and I shall see you again next time. Goodbye.